Hi guys, welcome to XtraTalk, another edition today with Eyejax. How are you, man?
I'm fine, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Excited for today's match against RKC.
Most definitely. It's been months.
It's been 5 months. It's been a long time. I don't know how we survived, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither, man. And match day again. That's fantastic. One of the best feelings I've had in a while, considering sport.
No, absolutely. So we're shooting today on a Saturday, just for our viewers to know. So before the game starts. So we won't be talking about the RKC game because our video will be uploaded on Monday. But we have some things to talk about. And with the next XtraTalk, we will, of course, discuss what happened with the friendlies. So moving on. It's been a quiet week, but there are a couple of things we want to discuss. First of all, let's start with, sometimes I read your Twitter feed, sometimes, as you know. And you had an interesting comment about, in your view, we need to have a new central defender and also, of course, left back, which everybody really agrees with you on that one. Can you comment on this? And can you especially explain why we need a central defender?
Yeah, it's actually quite easy. We sold Botman. We sold Veltman. We have Schuurs. That is his first season that he needs to prove himself that he is ready for it. We have Blind. This is the only consistent factor we have on the left central back. So all other options we have are either players that have to move from their position to help out, like Martinez if Blind falls out. Other players are Alvarez. He didn't prove himself last season. It was not like he had a terrific season. He didn't play much at the central defender position. But we lost 2 players that could play at the right central back position, and we did not get any new ones. So it is just too slim of a group for those positions player-wise that can play there. So we just need somebody who can fill in a position immediately, or like a huge talent that is already a little bit up to par to play there. And I think the group we have now, it's just not enough.
All right. I do understand, but I have a couple of questions regarding that. Because, look, even though, as you said, Veltman left and also Botman left, Botman is left-footed, of course. He would have been a very good alternative for Blind. But let's stick to the right-footed players at the back. The thing is, we still have options there. And I will come to your argument in a bit. So we have Alvarez, we have Schuurs, and we even have Timber. And Ten Hag in a recent interview said Timber was really pushing or knocking on the door. And this season, he will have probably chances again to show himself. So we already have 3 viable options. Why would you go and buy a new one? Because that means you're putting the other ones again in the waiting room.
But the options that you say that are options, they are not ready yet. Timber is still very young. He played 1 solid game last season, but he has to prove himself for a longer period.
Okay.
We play Champions League football. So you cannot count on Timber being of the standard that we need in the Champions League already. Okay. Same for Alvarez. Alvarez needs to prove himself in that position. Even with Schuurs, that has a lot of potential and is a very good player in my opinion, he still needs to prove himself this season. We can say a lot about Veltman. I was not his biggest fan, but it was a decent player and you know he would reach a certain level, at least last season.
Yeah.
So you can say we have enough players, but are you really convinced that they are good enough to play Champions League football?
Actually, I'm the one supposed to ask the question.
Yeah,
but good one. No, the thing is that Alvarez, for instance, if we talk about Alvarez was misused, in my opinion, in the 6th position, in the midfield, for a long time. I mean, the first 3-4 months, he was only playing in the midfield, which everybody saw is not his natural position, and he doesn't fit the midfield position for Ajax, you know? Then Ten Hag changed that and put him in the back. Not a lot of matches, but a couple of matches. Even Champions League games, he picked Alvarez as the central defender. And I thought he was okay. He has shortcomings, but that's not because he's not ready for it. He has shortcomings, especially on mobility. I think he's not very mobile. I think he's slow. But in terms of vision, in terms of having this defensive mentality, I think Alvarez is up for it. But you have to, the same goes for Schuurs. Schuurs is different in mentality than Alvarez. Has, in my opinion, more potential. Is also more an Ajax type of defender that can play. But you have 2 different options. And I think you have to give them a chance. Because Ten Hag Ten Hag basically didn't give Schuurs and Alvarez a series of games in one position, And I think you should trust them with that. Of course, if you look at past season, and don't forget, we only saw a brief season. We didn't have the full season to watch them play. So in my view, you have to trust them. And I think they're going to trust them because again, coming back to the interview of Ten Hag said they're basically only looking for a left back at the moment if nobody leaves. But it's hard to find one. So their priority is a left back. So I think they're satisfied with, or at least they're confident enough to try it out with what we have right now. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. You disagree? Or you think we should get a better
I disagree.
Alternative? Okay.
I disagree because the group isn't that large. You have like Timber. You have Alvarez.
Yeah, well, okay, but Timber is the one that we don't know much about. I mean, he has to show himself in the first team, and he can knock on the door and maybe do better than Schuurs and Alvarez. We have to wait and see. So I agree with you on that one.
And that is the main reason why I'm having concerns. Because the total group of players we have, there are a lot of ifs and buts. The only thing we're sure about is probably Blind at the left central back position. Schuurs has to prove himself. I think he can deliver, but he has to prove himself during the season. Yeah. It will be a long season because of Corona. There will be a lot of matches. And the only backups we have are like Timber and Alvarez and maybe Martinez. But Martinez is also needed for the left back position. Martinez is also needed to back up Blind. Martinez is also needed on the 6th position. So you cannot count him as a whole player because he's needed everywhere. Yeah.
But does that mean that you want a central defender that is left-footed? Or no, you're talking about the next to Blind?
Maybe actually both. But maybe we can handle the right central back position because we have Alvarez and Timber. So either one of them need to step up, and also Schuurs needs to step up. But the left central back position, you only have Martinez. And Martinez is needed in several positions. So we actually need a left back. If Nico stays or not, or if Martinez will play there or not, you need another left back because we don't have any. And in my opinion, you can use another left central defender. Because who's the backup if Martinez needs to play elsewhere? Who are you going to put there?
Yeah, then you have to look into the youth again.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I'm all for giving you the chance, but they have to be given a chance during a season, give them some minutes from the coach that they can cope with the system and they get used to the team. But you cannot say, hey, you're a youth player, come play Champions League against Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and they play already like they're doing that for years.
Well, don't underestimate Ajax youth players.
They are great. They're great,
but I understand what you're saying. I mean, they cannot be stable at one level, Maybe they will shine one game, but then...
And don't forget, we do not have the normal schedule that we used to have with the Eredivisie, like one game a week.
True.
It's more cramped, so you have much more games. And
we have a 5 substitute rule.
Also, but what if Blind or Schuurs get injured?
Yeah.
We had an injury wave last season. True. What if we have another injury wave?
Okay. We had an injury wave last season. We were of the opinion that's because of Ten Hag not using his substitutions in a strategic way.
Yeah.
Let's hope he learned from that. And now with 5 substitution possibilities, maybe he will substitute more if the games are, going well for us, etc. But look, you cannot deny the fact that we have a very big team. There are a lot of players. I mean, even in the midfield, people are not talking. We're talking about the central defender. And I know you're going to say it's not an option. And even Overmars said it's going to be a difficult thing. But we still have Magallan.
Yeah, but please, dude.
But I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. Magallan is not an option. Magallan,
I know. I told you. You're going to say this.
He's like even worse, like way worse, because I do not want to be disrespectful, but he's like 25% the player Veltman is. So please don't put that guy in because he's just poor.
But he's still in our payroll. He's still with
I know, but
he's still training.
Then you have to sell him or loan him out or wherever.
Yeah.
But you need players that can deliver.
Okay,
we're going to play in the Champions League. Do you see Magallan playing in the Champions League?
Look, no, I don't see it happening because he hasn't been good so far. He hasn't played a lot, but what I've seen from him, he was very unlucky. I remember when he came for the Feyenoord game, he was very unlucky there. He didn't play well. It was his first game. And let's not talk about Spurs.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
don't.
that was substitution to basically bring it home. And he was the one basically that slipped at the end. And okay, anyways, moving forward. Okay, so you think we should buy a central defender, and not because you don't think the others are good enough, but more because it's going to be like a difficult season, a lot of games. We need a lot of possibilities, and if we get away of injuries, like you said, we need to have good options. Yeah. And not shift too much. That was something that we did last year.
Exactly. And every time we see a rumor now, it's for a midfielder, an attacking midfielder, a winger. What is up with that?
Sessegnon is being mentioned. It might be a rumor, of course. He's a player of Spurs. They bought him. They bought him actually as an attacker, but now he's being rumored as a possible target for Ajax. For the left back position. Now, what are your thoughts on that one? And also for a loan option.
Yeah, I'm not fond of that. He's not a real left back. He's turned into one. I'd rather see somebody who played this for like many years and is natural at it. And also, I'm not a fan of a loan deal. Because usually these kind of players that were loaned or bought for a lot of money, they will not like sell them. They hope they do well at another club so that they can use them themselves. And I think I rather invest the time and money in a player from our own school or somebody we bought, and we can develop the player ourselves to sell them later on or have direct positive effect on the team, and not somebody who's there for like 6-7 months and then he goes away again. So
if we talk shortly about Traoré, for instance, in the season that Bos came, he was a loan option from Chelsea. He did well.
He did well. He did very well, but the team was totally different back then, and we needed actually somebody for that position, and we were lucky enough that Bos had a good relationship with him. I think from Vitesse still.
Yeah, true.
And also, there are some loan deals that worked out great, like Milik. There was very good business from Overmars. He loaned him.
But that was with an option to buy.
Yes, he loaned him, but with an option to buy in it. Yeah. So if you loan a player, I should always have an option for like that you will be able to buy him after one season or something. True. Because otherwise it's just development for another team. And that's nothing I like.
No, I understand. Okay, moving on. Just two other things I want to mention. Also this week, there was this rumor about Sillissen becoming an option if Onana leaves. It has been rumored before. I just want your thoughts on that one.
I think Sillissen is a good keeper, especially when he was very good in form, like when he played at Ajax in the international squad. He had a terrific season. I think he's definitely good enough for the Eredivisie, but I think he needs to step up his game to be good enough for the Champions League.
But you know what it is? We're now going to compare every goalkeeper with Onana.
Yeah,
that's not realistic.
And these are hard shoes to fill. It's same with Frenkie. He left, and the same. Nobody can. I said it in the past, nobody can fill in the role like Frenkie did in the past. Same with De Ligt. Those are exceptional players, exceptional talents. And I think it's unfair for any keeper who comes to expect him to be off the level of Onana already.
Yeah.
So,
well, we started this podcast talking about that the RKC game is coming. So there are a bunch of friendlies that are going to be played in this month. Very interesting to see also how some youth players that have been banging on the door, how they will perform, and if Ten Hag will stick to them for the remainder of the season. Because we're talking now about Ekkelenkamp as an option. There was a rumor not a rumor, but we read that there were Heerenveen and Twente, they were interested in Ekkelenkamp to loan him. But apparently Overmars, and maybe also in discussions with Ten Hag, said, no, we don't want to do it. Yeah. We want to give him a chance. How do you see that?
I think it's good, but I do not know how many minutes he will get this season, because we have a lot of players up front and a lot of players who can also play at the 10 position. We have Kudus who can play at the 10 position. He's bought for a lot of money. Anthony can play 10. Tadic can play 10. Donny van der Beek plays 10. He's still at the club also. So a lot of players.
Do you think it's also a strategic thing? Because there might be, we still have 2 months for a transfer window. And if Donny leaves,
Exactly, and you still have young
So
Ajax.
if you already commit to loan him, then you cannot get it back. Basically,
young Ajax you also still have. So that is also a good school to learn and to develop yourself. One division lower than Ajax plays itself. And also, if Donny leaves and you cannot get a great substitute player from the transfer market yet, you also
at the end,
which has happened a lot of time with Ajax in the past, you still have Ekkelenkamp.
Yeah.
And I think he's a terrific player. I do think he is not that a creative player like Eyejax. He's like a player that penetrates the box and it's a different kind of 10, but he still can be used within the squad, I think. So I understand the decision of Overmars to keep him from now.
All right. Well, that's it basically for today.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the games.
Me too. I think it's going to be 5-1.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep you to that.
Yeah.
People will watch this as well. Guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the friendlies.